Hello YouTube, and thank you for watching my channel. Earlier in the week, I had my brother show how to paint a model and how to fix it and for his Warhammer 40k stuff that he does. And he's probably going to do a couple more of these because I think it's really interesting how he does it and how he gets these things set up. So what I did is I broke the video actually down into 15-minute parts or segments so that, I don't know about you guys, but I would rather watch it in 15-minute segments than I would to sit down and watch it in a 2-hour segment. So anyway, I broke it down into 15-minute segments, and here's the segments. This is going to kind of be the intro for every one of them, and I'm going to number them as we go. So without further ado, here's my brother Joe, and he's painting a model. On the first episode, he's going to explain the model to you, and then throughout the episode, he's going to explain what he's actually doing, why he's painting it, why he's found why he's going to paint it, and essentially he's going to walk you through the steps that he's done and he's learned through his trial and error on how to actually get these models looking so that he can sell them, because that's one of the things that he does, is he sells them to other people to be able to use as well. So without further ado, here's my brother Joe. Thank you.
So their home world, which is designed again by a friend of mine, is very Scottish. It's I believe an ocean world with a bunch of islands in it, where the main civilizations that aren't out on the plains and farms and stuff are actually in domes to keep the water away and to keep so that way they can do the agriculture and their life all year round and be safe from the snows and the winds and the rain. And because if you've ever been to Scotland, it's actually really, really cold. It's got rainy and windy, and the main reason it's not like Iceland is because of that nice oceanic belt. Don't be too afraid, especially on this first coat, of getting more than just the armor, because we're going to be painting the other stuff soon anyways, so that part doesn't matter too much. Alright, looks like I'm getting close to getting the armor done, and I can start on the coloration. I think, mostly by talking with you guys, I've decided I'm going to go Arctic. I've got 2 other ones to paint, and I can decide to do them different colors as well. If you guys have the ideas of what you want me to paint the other 2 tigers or the other 2 saber cats, then that's perfectly fine with me. Go ahead, drop the comments down in the comment box. My brother will read them because I'm too lazy. Whoop, looks like I'm missing some on one of those battle horns in the back. And he can read those through, send me the ones that actually pertain to me, and I will read them and actually probably decide off of you guys. But this one I think I'm going to go with Arctic. Now that the armor's done, most people would probably start with the biggest color there, but I hadn't decided on what he was going to be yet. Alright, so looks like I'm probably going to get his clothing is going to be most covered. I could probably skip some things around there. Alright. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started on the cat. Alright, this one is not actually ceramite white. Let's see if I still have the... No, I don't. I think this one's steel. Let's see, a wood base? Which one would be better for the base of the cat? I think wood base would probably be better for a plain base cat like a cheetah or such. We're going to go I no longer have, I think, the bottle for it. Maybe I do. Ah, yep, I do. Okay. But the name is no longer there. Basically, it's Armor Sand. Remember how I told you to put those little tiny BBs in there? This is what happens if you don't. Sometimes you have to peel the crap and break the lid right off. Thankfully, I've got a bunch of these empty ones. Let's see, I've got one more white, one more black. So sometimes when I make a mixture that I really like this one, I mixed, it used to be red gore, but I mixed some paints in it that I liked and made a nice new paint color. Or when another bottle breaks, that's why it's always good to have extra bottles. Alright, so this is actually Armored Sand. Let's actually grab another paintbrush for it, one that's not so frayed. This one will work just fine. You want to try and get it mostly just on the tip, so that way it's easier to work with. And then now the cat will be layered different colors. That's the main reason I'm using this one as the base of the color, just to start getting it that white. If I had probably Arctic Sand, which is one of the ones I kind of want to buy down the road, I probably would have started with that because it's a nice off-white. But this one, you know, it's kind of creamy, colory. It'll be really easy to paint the white back onto and still have a lot of it show off through it. This bugger was actually pretty fun to mod. I'll probably find the box or later of what they actually were, but yeah, they're a mix of a few different. I actually think this one was Hordes. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, but I think the cat was off of a Hordes model, because Hordes, although Hordes usually is the same size, it's also a 28mm heroic. So that's why it kind of makes me think that it's not Hordes, just because the guys writing it were not 28mm heroic. They were actually quite a bit bigger. I would probably put them at 31 to 38mm tall. They weren't quite a centimeter above it, so they were probably 30, 31. Because that's another size group that's used quite a bit. I want to make sure to get this one in all the crevices because it's going to be the darker color, and you want the darker color to be more in the crevices, because that, you know, if you've ever, like, even just looking at the crevices of my hand, it's darker than the you know, the folds up here. Your hand is actually a great thing to look at and to test shading from looking at it, just because, you know, it's right there and you can see the shading off of it. If you've also noticed, I'm holding the model of my hand and resting my other hand here. A lot of the reason for that is my hands shake, and if both the hands shake, then if you put them together, they're shaking with each other, so it's easier to have the paintbrush go and do what you want. I've got a friend who his hands shake massively hard. He's got a few old war injuries, and so he's actually the one that taught me this, because this allows him to paint. Because if his hands shake together, then he can put the paintbrush where he wants to put the paintbrush, because that's where his shaking's from. I really should have started painting the skin and then the armor over top of that, but mainly because that's the most color we see here on the model. You start with whatever color you're going to be seeing the most of. And so for her it was definitely the armor, because we mostly see the armor. But for this guy down here, I definitely should have started with the skin color first. But like I said earlier in the video, I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to use as the skin color. let's get that sucker in there. And get this guy painted really well. I'm probably also going to end up using other recording devices. Right now I'm using my brother's camera because he kind of wanted me to, so that way he could edit the first video. I might end up using my computer or other cameras down the road, just so that way Ben can use his camera for things he's got to use it for, and I don't have to wait for him to be done with his camera to continue painting. Like I said, remember to get in those crevices. You have to clean off your brush when it starts to get little. It's good to do it a little more often, not just when you change colors, but also when it starts to get gunky, so that way you can keep your brush lasting a good long time. Citadels, I find it's actually much better to take your paint right off of this little lip right here. Just kind of, you know, roll it, the tip in there to get that paint and color on top of it. Let's get that detail in there. Don't be too afraid of accidentally overlapping colors. Once we get all the main colors on and we start doing detail work, we'll actually touch up any of the accidents we've done. Make sure to get underneath the model, because even though most people will be seeing it from above, it, you know, one, if they ever pick it up, it makes the model better, and plus, if they ever see it from different angles, it makes it, you know, it makes it a more complete model. It makes it something you are proud that you made. Also, it's more fun to see that fully completed model at the end. And this whole thing, it's all about fun. Model building, model painting, every single process, it's all for fun. It's all part of the fun. Alright, let's get in there. And get that detail painted. Alright. Now, like I said, for these guys, I'm actually using the Thunderwolf Cavalry rules for them. So, I'm definitely going to be using the Imperium combined rules, just because that allows me to do Sisters, Imperial Guard, and all the other different models in there, and it lets me have more fun with conversions and modifications on models, because that's what I really enjoy doing, is building models. So if I do Imperium Unbound, Fratius Militia, it actually gives me a lot of fun modeling options. A lot of people think you can only have, you know, fun modding with orcs or chaos, or, you know, various different designs like that. Any army I actually see as an opportunity to do fun modeling. I've got some really fun Imperial Guard models, or Astra Militarum models, that you guys will be seeing later. I've already posted some of them to my Tumblr, which my brother should put a link to my Tumblr back underneath, so that way you guys can see some of the models and drawings and art that I've already finished and taken pictures of and posted online. Like my entirety of my Stormtrooper regiment that I built off of old Bretonnian models, because you know, if you actually read the Imperial Guard fluff, they come from all these different types of worlds. And so they all look kind of different because they're all from different types of worlds. You know, the Tanith guys don't look like the Cadians. The Cadians don't look like the Tallarans. The Tallarans don't look like the Catachans. The Elysians, you know. And those are just the canon ones. You also can build your own. Like, I've got the Rakugan, which are my mounted cavalry that I'm using as stormtroopers. They're not actually mounted, because sadly, the only real mounts Imperial Guard have are the Rough Riders. And while the Rough Riders are kind of good, the only thing they actually do well in is apocalypse-sized games. Anything else, and they get shot up, beat up, killed really quickly, because they've only got a one-shot weapon, which is kind of weak in my opinion. If you at least give me a turn to reload, carry more than one charge, something, it would make them so much a better model. But because they're a one-hit then done model, they're kind of useless in most small games, because once you hit that one use, they're just, unless you get something like a Leman Russ maybe, or some other super heavy, you just wasted a bunch of points you could have spent, on just about anything else. Massive number of other things you could have brought instead of those guys that would have done so much better in the battle. Which is my main sad point with Rough Riders. They're really good in apocalypse size events, because I've actually taken down a Baneblade, because they basically are running with melta charges. I whacked it right in the rear of the Baneblade with their melta lances.
Thank you for watching how Joe paints and explains and looks at these models. Now, like I said earlier, these are broken up into parts, so please stay tuned for the other parts as well, as he explains and breaks down what he's actually doing with the models and what he's actually painting them. I know that you guys don't really want to listen to me when you're looking at these models, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, just like, subscribe, leave comments about what he's painting. Maybe you've come up with other ideas or other things on how to do models as well, whether it's Warhammer 40k, D&D, or any other type of models. Now, if you have come up with more information or you want more information from Joe, please do leave a comment below. Also, like I said earlier, please like and subscribe. That means a lot to us. That shows that these are the type of videos or types of information that you want getting out there. Because like I said, this YouTube is just kind of a random. We believe in fun and we believe in education, and we want to get it out there. So again, stay tuned for the other parts, and we'll go ahead and get you on to the next one. Thank you very much.